Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Tony Dykstra from Makatawa Technologies, and I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us this morning for another one of our virtual breakfast bites. Today's breakfast bites will be focusing on Microsoft Teams calling. Andrew, who's our lead solution engineer, he'll be going through an overview and some of the benefits that Teams calling could provide to you and your organizations. At the end of the meeting, we will be doing a drawing for an Amazon gift card, so make sure that you stick around until the end. With that, I'm going to hand it off to you, Andrew.
Good morning. Thanks, Tony. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Microsoft Teams, specifically the Teams calling feature today. So this is our second breakfast bites without actually having you in person and having breakfast. So we're getting the hang of it here, and this time is a little different format too. It's actually a live event rather than a meeting like we did last time. So I encourage you to ask questions during the meeting. There's a little question and answer button at the top. Shows as a little bubble with a question mark. You can ask that, and then I'll have a little bit of time at the end to answer questions if there are any. So briefly, we're just going to go over what is Teams and Teams calling specifically. How do you use it, and why should you use it? Why is it beneficial? Then we'll have a door prize at the end. So what is it? I figured it'd be good to briefly mention what is Teams in case some of you might not know what Teams is. Not everybody uses it. Some people use Slack. Slack is a similar thing to Teams, but basically it's an internal collaboration software or external, depending on how you use it. But there's a Teams tab where you can communicate with different groups like marketing, sales, in your internal organization, or call each other, do meetings, or live events like this one. But specifically, we want to take a look at Teams calling. So by default, there's not the option to do external calls using Microsoft Teams. All of the calling is done internally or to other Teams users. You don't actually have a phone number. So what Teams calling does is it adds phone system capabilities to Microsoft Teams. When I talk about phone systems capabilities, I'm talking about auto attendant. Auto attendant is the thing that normally you hear when you call and you don't get an actual person. Gives you menu options to direct you to different departments or different call queues. So call queues are the second feature of that. So that would be typically you see this in call centers where you call in and you wait in a queue. If you have enough people waiting on hold, you hear music on hold. It rings people internally at the office until somebody's able to answer. Voicemail, everybody knows what voicemail is. You actually can have voicemail without Teams calling, but when you do have Teams calling, you have voicemail for external callers as well. Conference bridge is one, so you get a number that users can dial in on. That brings them to a conference bridge, and rather than just having a Teams meeting, you can do a call-in meeting. And direct dial numbers. So everybody that has a license for Microsoft Teams calling will have their own direct dial number. So somebody can reach you directly. You can put it on your business card. They don't have to go through the auto attendant that way. So you can get, with Teams calling, you can get new phone numbers that Microsoft will assign to you, or you can transfer numbers from your existing phone system. We call that a number port. Usually takes a week or two to do that. It allows you to call directly from the same app that you use for internal collaboration. So it really is unified communication. You don't have a different platform for internal communication as you do for external phone calls and communication. So that's what it is in a nutshell. So how do you use it? First, we want to start with licensing it and preparing. If you are already using Teams, you just need to add a license and you will get calling features. After licensing, you'll work with us to program a customized call flow. If you have a primary number for an auto attendant or a call queue, if you don't have a primary number and you just want to work with individual phone numbers for each person, there's really no customization needed, just some assignment of phone numbers and a little bit of time to propagate and you're good to go to make calls. Then if you wanted to take your existing phone numbers from your current phone system, if you have one, you would schedule a port of your existing phone numbers. After that's all set, or during that process, you would get the apps and or hardware for using Teams. One of the cool things about it is there's an app for your desktop, for your Mac, mobile phone, or if you prefer the more traditional approach, there are several different phone hardware manufacturers that make phones that are compatible with Teams. So you can still have the phone on your desk with the traditional experience if you prefer that. Finally, you can use it. So you use the app on the desktop to make or receive calls. Check voicemail, set up conference calls, forward calls, and more. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll get your own personal number. It's kind of small on the screen here, but on this dial pad on the right, you'll see your number. You'll be able to give that out and people can call you direct. It'll ring in your Teams app on any one of your devices. One great thing is that your contacts will sync up with existing contacts in Outlook, so you don't have to manage a separate phone system speed dial list. I know that's kind of a pain. You just want to see one list of contacts, so you can do that if you have Outlook and you have contacts in Outlook. So why should you use it? First best reason is it is true unified communications. For a long time, phone system manufacturers have been preaching unified communications, and they weren't really completely unified, in my opinion. So you can communicate with coworkers and customers in the same platform, doing phone calls or internal chats. Video calling, chat, conference calling, meetings, all on the same platform. No need to manage a separate contact list, as I mentioned. Other benefit is it's convenient and cost efficient, especially if you already have Microsoft 365 licensing. You basically have half of what you need already. No need to purchase desk phones, although you have the flexibility to do so if you want to. And again, your phone goes with you if you want it to. Some people don't want to take their work home, but if you want to, you can. You'll have your desk phone right on your cell phone with the Teams app if you prefer, or you can put yourself in Do Not Disturb. One of the, I didn't have this in the slide, but there are reasons that you would not use Microsoft Teams. It's a great product. It's a good option for calling, but we do offer more traditional phone systems as well. If you need specialty phones like door phones or paging systems, sometimes it's better to go with a more traditional phone system. Or if you need more detailed, customized call flows, sometimes call centers, people that heavily utilize their phones, the Teams product may not be the best fit. Or if you just don't have Microsoft 365 currently, it might be better to go with another product. There are some cool features in Microsoft Teams calling that when I was testing it out, I found it does have the option to have voice activated auto attendant. So when you call big companies and they say press or say 1, you can actually do that with the Teams phone system. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature. There may be SMS texting capabilities in the future. So your phone number, you can send or receive text messages using it. That is not available yet, but it may be in the future. Does not look like we have any questions right now, but as always, if you do have questions, this will be posted later. You can email us. We'll have a link to our email or to our website. You can use our contact form to ask us questions if you have any questions about the product. And with that, we are all done. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope to see you in a future Breakfast Bites.